pressure you've been feeling, the one that keeps you up at night, the one that sits in your chest like a stone, the one you've been calling stress, anxiety, fear. It's not what you think it is. It's not a warning that something's wrong. It's not proof you're failing. It's not evidence you're on the wrong path. That pressure, that unbearable, increasing, relentless pressure, it's buildup. The kind that happens right before eruption. Right before everything you've been working toward explodes into your reality. And this video finding you right now, in this exact moment when the pressure feels heaviest. That's not coincidence, that's confirmation. Confirmation that you're standing at the threshold. The exact point where it happens. Where everything shifts. Where the breakthrough you've been chasing finally breaks through. But here's what you need to understand. Here's why this message had to find you. You keep stepping back from the edge. Not because you're not ready, but because the moment right before it happens feels identical to the moment before failure. And you can't tell the difference. Let me show you what's actually happening. You're standing at a geyser, and you've been standing there for weeks, maybe months. Watching, waiting, looking for signs that something's about to happen. But when you look down, all you see is still water. Calm, unchanged. No movement, no indication that anything's building. And because you see nothing on the surface, you're starting to believe nothing's happening beneath it. You're starting to think, maybe you were wrong. Maybe this isn't your time. Maybe the breakthrough isn't coming. Maybe you've been standing at the wrong geyser. So you think about walking away. You think about trying something else, going somewhere else, starting over somewhere new. But here's what you don't know. Here's what you can't see from where you're standing. Underground, beneath that in still water, the pressure is at maximum capacity. The temperature is past boiling point. The chamber is filled beyond what it can hold. And in the next 30 seconds, maybe 60, that geyser is going to erupt. Violently, powerfully, inevitably, sending water hundreds of feet into the air. But you won't know it's about to happen by looking at the surface. The surface will look exactly like it did yesterday, last week, last month. Still, quiet, unchanged. That's where you are right now. Standing at maximum pressure, 1 minute from eruption. And you're deciding whether to stay or walk away. Here's what nobody tells you about the moment right before it happens. It doesn't feel like victory is close. It doesn't feel like you're on the edge of breakthrough. It feels like nothing's working. Like you've been doing everything right and seeing nothing change. Like the gap between where you are and where you're trying to go is the same size it was 6 months ago. And that feeling, that discouragement, that exhaustion, it's actually the final test. Because the universe doesn't hand you breakthroughs when you're confident, when you're certain, when you have proof it's coming. It hands you breakthroughs when you're willing to stand at the threshold without proof. When you're willing to stay at the geyser even though the water looks still. When you're willing to hold the pressure even though you can't see what's building. That willingness, that ability to stand in maximum pressure without retreating, that's what separates people who break through from people who spend their entire lives almost breaking through. Let me tell you about the pattern. Your pattern. Every time you get close, every time the pressure builds to maximum, every time you're standing right at the edge of it happening, you pull back, you find a reason to doubt, you find evidence it's not working, you find proof you should try something different. And you step away from the threshold, not dramatically, not consciously. Just a small step back, a pause, a reconsideration, a decision to wait for more certainty before you fully commit. And that step back, that tiny retreat, it releases the pressure. It delays the eruption. It resets the buildup. And you have to start over, building pressure again getting close again, standing at the threshold again, until the pressure gets unbearable again, and you step back again. You've done the cycle so many times you don't even recognize it anymore. You think you're being smart, strategic, waiting for the right moment. But you're not waiting for the right moment. You're avoiding the uncomfortable moment. The moment where you have to stand in maximum pressure with zero evidence it's about to pay off. The moment where faith and fear feel identical. The moment where you can't tell if you're about to break through or break down. That's the moment you keep stepping back from. And that's the moment where it happens. Here's what the pressure actually means. It's not stress. It's not a sign you're doing too much or pushing too hard or heading toward burnout. Pressure is what happens when forces are building toward release, when energy is accumulating toward explosion, when power is gathering before it bursts. Think about it. A geyser doesn't erupt because it's relaxed. It erupts because pressure built to a point where eruption became inevitable. A volcano doesn't explode because it's calm. It explodes because internal forces reached critical mass. You don't break through to the next level of your life because you're comfortable. You break through because pressure built to the point where staying where you are became impossible. That pressure you're feeling, that unbearable, increasing, relentless force, it's not trying to break you. It's trying to break you through the ceiling you've been hitting, through the patterns you've been stuck in, through the version of reality that's been keeping you small. But it can only break you through if you stay at the threshold long enough for the eruption to happen, and you keep leaving right before it does. Now let me tell you why this video found you right now. You're in the final seconds. The pressure is at maximum. The buildup is complete. Everything beneath the surface is ready to erupt. And you're standing there, looking at still water, deciding whether to stay or walk away. And something in you knows. It knows this is different. It knows you're closer than you've ever been. It knows that if you walk away this time, you'll regret it in ways you can't even comprehend yet. That knowing, that quiet internal alarm that made you click on this video, that's not anxiety. That's your system recognizing the threshold. Recognizing that you're in the final moment before everything changes. And it's trying to keep you here. Trying to stop you from stepping back one more time. Trying to make sure that when the eruption happens, when it finally breaks through, you're standing there to receive it. Because here's the brutal truth. The geyser is going to erupt, whether you're there or not. The breakthrough is going to happen. The timing is set. The pressure is ready. And the only question is whether you'll be standing at the threshold when it does, or whether you'll have walked away 30 seconds too soon. Let me show you what staying looks like. It doesn't look like motivation. It doesn't look like confidence. It doesn't look like certainty that everything's about to work out. Staying looks like standing in maximum pressure with zero evidence and choosing not to move. It looks like feeling the discomfort of not knowing when and choosing to stay anyway. It looks like watching still water and choosing to believe something's building beneath it. It looks like being exhausted, discouraged, and depleted, and still refusing to step back from the edge. That's not faith in the outcome, that's faith in the process. Faith that pressure means something. Faith that buildup leads to breakthrough. Faith that the moment right before it happens is supposed to feel exactly like this. Unbearable, uncertain, indistinguishable from failure. And if you can stay in that moment, if you can hold that pressure without releasing it, if you can stand at the threshold without stepping back, you'll be there when it erupts. And when it does, when everything you've been building toward finally explodes into your reality, you won't remember the pressure as pain. You'll remember it as preparation, as the force that was required to launch you into the next version of your life. Here's what you need to understand about the people who made it. The ones living the life you're trying to build. They're not special. They're not more talented. They're not luckier. They're not more connected. The only difference between them and you is they stayed at the geyser. They stood in maximum pressure. They watched still water. They felt the doubt, the exhaustion, the discouragement, and they didn't step back. They didn't walk away. They didn't decide to try something else. They just stayed. One more day, one more week, one more month, however long it took for the eruption to happen. And when it did, when the breakthrough finally came, it wasn't gradual. It wasn't gentle. It was explosive. Everything changed at once. Opportunities appeared. Doors opened. People showed up. Money moved. Reality rearranged itself around the new version of them. But that eruption only happened because they were still standing there when the pressure reached critical mass. They didn't leave in the final seconds. And that's the only reason they're on the other side now. If you're reading this and something just shifted, if you recognize yourself standing at the geyser, watching the still water, deciding whether to stay or leave. If you felt the pressure I'm describing and realized it's not stress, it's buildup, drop 3 words in the comments. I'm staying here. That's it. 3 words, because when you declare it publicly, when you commit to standing at the threshold, no matter how long it takes, you stop the pattern. You stop stepping back. You stop releasing the pressure. You let it build to eruption. So write it. I'm staying here. And if you know someone at their threshold, someone feeling maximum pressure, someone about to walk away right before their breakthrough, share this with them. Tell them to write it too, because most people leave the geyser in the final seconds, and we don't need more people living with the regret of almost. We need people willing to stay until it happens. Subscribe to stay connected to this community. And if Super Thanks feels aligned, it helps these messages reach more people who need them. But whether you support or not, the fact that you're here, doing the work, choosing yourself, that's what this is all about. Thank you. I'm proud of you. The truth is, you've been here before, at this exact threshold, feeling this exact pressure. And every other time, you step back. You found a reason. You released the buildup. You walked away. And you've been carrying that pattern with you, repeating it every time you get close. But this time is different. Not because the circumstances are different. Not because the pressure is different. But because this video found you. Because you're reading these words. Because something in you is ready to stop the cycle. Ready to stay at the geyser, ready to hold maximum pressure without retreating. And when you make that choice, when you genuinely commit to staying no matter what, the eruption becomes inevitable. Not someday, not eventually, soon, very soon, because the pressure is already at maximum. The buildup is already complete. You're already in the final seconds. The only thing that's been missing is you, standing at the threshold. Not stepping back, just staying, watching still water, feeling unbearable pressure, and trusting that beneath the surface, everything is ready to explode into your reality. This video found you right before it happens, and the only question left is whether you'll still be standing there when it does. Most people walk away from the geyser right before it erupts. They stand there, watch the still water, feel the pressure building inside them, and decide nothing's happening. They leave, and 30 seconds later, it erupts, sends water hundreds of feet in the air, and they never know how close they were. Never know they were standing there in the final seconds. Never know that one more minute of staying would have changed everything. You're at the geyser right now, feeling maximum pressure, seeing still water, about to decide whether to stay or walk away. This video found you in that decision, right before it happens, and what you choose next determines whether you're there when the eruption comes, or whether you're one of the ones who left 30 seconds too soon. Stay. The water's about to move.